For American schoolchildren growing up in the 1990s, you could count on one of a number of different things. First, is you were probably wearing something pasteled or maybe striped. Second, you didn't give a shit about pogs, but at the same time, all you knew you wanted was a bomb slammer. And third, you knew it was going to be a good day if the teacher wheeled in a cart. It was a bit top-heavy, had a TV on top. Hopefully it was something animated. The other thing that you could count on during this time was entering into a classroom and seeing a computer not dissimilar to one of these. These computers didn't just sit gathering dust in their beige glory. They also offered something more: video games. But unfortunately, this was school. And like all things related to education, anything fun had to be diluted with something dull. In this first volume of educational games, we're going to look at 3: Number Munchers, Mario Teaches Typing, and Swamp Gas. All right, so we begin with Number Munchers. This is a game that has something to do with, math. I am horrible at math, particularly mental math, which is exactly what this game tests. So you're this little green dude who goes around and eats all the correct answers based on the prompt at the top of the screen. Here we're looking for anything that results in something that is greater than 11. As you can see, these little purple dudes just show up randomly, and if they get real close, they eat you. Just like that! Great, I was eaten by a Troglus normalis. Admittedly, that was just a demo. Let's look at the instructions. Alright, Number Munchers is a game that helps you develop your math skills. Great, I'm at math. These character names are pretty cool. Troglus assistus, Troglus smarticus. Awesome. Instructions on how to control a character. Never mind, safe zones, don't care. Let's just play this thing. Yeah, multiples, fine. Okay, so multiples of 5. Alright, this should be pretty easy. Let's see. So yeah, it's pretty easy when you're doing something that is arguably not that complex, but it does become harder as you advance. Watch out for those trogs. Multiples of 9 always seem to hang me up in some places. For some reason, I don't know why. Like here, I'm going to click on 82, and I know it's wrong, but yes, I know it's wrong. Alright, 36, let's try that. Great, okay, that worked. Alright, so we just kind of keep moving along, trying to avoid that purple trog. When it all boils down to it, this game is actually pretty good. It incentivizes doing things quickly, alongside being accurate. I'm speeding through this next bit so I can show you one of my favorite little kind of rewards for doing well. When I was a kid, you lived for those moments. You lived for the chance to see a cutscene. These days, you have to sit 40 minutes at the beginning of a game before you can actually play the bloody thing. Well, I didn't see that coming. Troglus assistus, he's supposed to be helping me. You know, I think that the instructions said to use the arrow keys instead of the mouse, but I've been fine so far. Never mind. Let's just enter my information into the Hall of Fames list. Once in future tech. 320, not bad. Alright, let's play again. This time I really like primes. They're so easy. What? Number Munchers has run out of memory? So much for unprotected memory in macOS. In this next example, we look at one of gaming's most mind-numbing paradoxes. Its title alone evokes a sense of ecstasy and guttural disappointment, all within 3 words. Mario Teaches Typing. Now, when you hear Mario, you might think this, right? This epic NES classic. Let's get that right in there and get it going. This was one of my most favorite games growing up. I absolutely love it. Let's go ahead and push start. Wait, what? No, we're not talking about this game. We're talking about Mario Teaches Typing. Alright, so here we are beginning the game. And right from the title screen, one thing that I'm reminded of is Mario 64 for some reason. But this predates that because this is 1992. That came out in 96.
Welcome to Mario Teaches Typing.
So I'm just gonna jump right in. Let's create a name and words per minute.
On your mark, get set.
This is stage number 1, and it's very basic. All you have to really do is type whatever letter comes on the screen with the idea that you're keeping your fingers on the home keys. And Mario follows suit, and this is it. If you were hoping, like I was, for some form of platforming, you're not going to find it here. This is the extent of the platforming. A game that I find actually more effective is Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing, which I played on an Apple II GS, believe it or not. But that, for some reason, seemed to be a more effective way of teaching me. Right, congratulations to me, I met my words per minute goal. So in this next section, it's not just about letters, you're typing whole sentences out. And accuracy is important as well as speed. But one thing you're going to notice as we get to the end of this line here is that it uses the old convention of double spacing before starting a new sentence. So actually, if you're used to typing in, the last 10 or even 20 years, when we've kind of abandoned this type of convention, you're not necessarily going to feel all that comfortable. In fact, you're going to make errors. Well, at least I did anyway. One thing I do really like about this game is the effort made to present environments that you might have seen in previous Mario games. It's also willing to congratulate you on a job well done.
On your mark, get set, go!
So we've entered into the infamous water level, which you can find in pretty much every Mario game. This is a tricky section because the words don't have any contextual relation. It's about testing your ability to use the home keys appropriately. When you play a game like this, you start to wonder how could they have sucked all life out of something as aggravatingly annoying but fun as Super Mario Bros. And that was to attach it to something that for many young people was not a fun experience. And yeah, there are rewards, but who's actually gonna print off this little certificate? I certainly wouldn't have. In this section, you basically are just typing out the paragraph that you see. One of the things that does bother me about this game, and I really can't complain about it on the whole, is just the fact that it is actually quite culturally specific. Everything that you seem to write about is American history. The game was released in other regions like Japan and Europe, so hopefully they had some region-specific content. Right, well, let's just leave it there then, shall we? Now this next game I know very little about, actually. It's called Swamp Gas. Ostensibly, it's about geography. The version that I played in my mother's classroom as a kid was based specifically on US geography. And that might sound pretty boring, and to some extent it actually was. I think at the time I was starting to learn all of the different capitals of the United States, individual states. But there was one redeeming quality, and that was mini-games. And it consisted of like arcade shooters, one of which I remember quite clearly was you were this little alien in a spaceship, and as you moved along, a pie would fly at you and you had to catch all of the pies, and if you didn't or missed too many of them, you lost. The game was developed by Inline Design. Yeah, I've not heard of it either. In 1990, and to my knowledge, it was only ever released on Macintosh. Anyway, so without any further ado, let's give it a go.
Swamp Gas.
So here we are with Swamp Gas Visits the United States of America. As I suggested earlier, it's made by Inline Design, which I guess consisted of Robert Cavey and Sean Callahan. When you start a new game, you have these different options to choose from. You can have the mission length be up to 50 locations before you get the reward of a minigame. As I'm playing on my own, I will select one player and type in my name, once and future tech. Now I get to select my craft. I quite like a silver monstrosity. There we go. So you're immediately dropped off into the world, or the United States of America more specifically. Your mission is on a drop-down menu, and you can select that menu to see where you need to be going next. I'll put Pennsylvania at the top since I'm so close. Ah, that affirmation is so satisfying. Now it wants me to go to Iowa. Iowa's, known for its agriculture and also as the birthplace of Captain Kirk. Right once again, that doesn't get old. So this is the basic idea. You go around and you land on the areas that it tells you to land on. Sometimes this is not just states, but state capitals, for instance. And occasionally you're hit with one of these, a trivia question that you have to answer correctly in order to progress forward. I didn't know that about Idaho, but it's not surprising. And now the mothership will come and extract me from Oregon and take me on to the next section. Upon being such an amazing success, you then get the opportunity to enter the Alien Arcade, and this is what you really were waiting for as a kid. Let's start with the first one, Stink Snakes. So here, you're this little guy, and you have to shoot pies at the snakes, so I was incorrect before. It's not catching pies, it's shooting them. But yes, if you do collect the pie that you shoot and it doesn't hit a snake, you can retrieve it, essentially. And as the waves get greater, so does the difficulty and the speed at which the snakes are spawned. Another game has you shooting comic books at nerds and try not to get hit by their pocket protectors and calculators. I don't really know how I feel about this. I think it does a bit of a disservice to nerds. This is a bit of a strange one. We gotta avoid these pieces of popcorn being crapped out of this dog. Shoot these guys with balloons so that they trip on bananas and die. Another version of Swamp Gas was released that took you to Europe, and as you might expect, you clicked on European states and or capitals in order to progress. Here I'm meant to go to the United Kingdom. And sure, Scotland's in the United Kingdom now, but what's going to happen after Brexit? We just don't know. You may have noticed that this version is in black and white. Couldn't get the color version to work. Maybe this is how Trump views Europe. The European version has different mini-games. This seems to be some kind of vacuuming jobberoo. And this is where you build robots, and once they're complete, you actually lose. Really annoying. Bounce these guys off the thing, and that's basically the objective. Yeah, it could be more fun, I suppose. One of the themes that persists across all three games that we've demoed today is the offer of reward following a certain degree of labor. In Number Munchers, this came in the form of a cutscene after 3 successfully completed levels. In Swamp Gas, we had a much more extensive reward system with the Alien Arcade. These examples invite an exploration of gamification more broadly. Typically, when we speak of gamification, we're referring to the application of game-like structures, such as rewards and objectives, to environments outside of video games. It's a concept commonly found within business and marketing environments. At its most benign, gamification is a way of incentivizing engagement with something that may otherwise be dull or unpleasant. A good example of this is the achievements announced on a Fitbit or Apple Watch when you've met an exercise goal. At its most insidious, gamification can be interpreted as a way of extracting surplus value from exploited labor. It's a way of extracting free labor under the guise of a reward system. This is evidenced in employment practices such as issuing employee sales targets. It is also evidenced in our entertainment. The gaming distribution service, Steam, offers rewards and incentives for every purchase and encourages the proliferation of workshop content. The issue here is that users are contributing to a game's value without actually receiving any substantive material benefits for that labor. So, what does all of this have to do with educational games of the 1990s? Well, it strikes me that some of the ease with which we have adopted these exploitative tactics is down to the fact that they have been normalized for quite some time. If you were a young person in the early 1990s, you got used to performing tasks with the ultimate promise of reward. If similar models are to be found in adult life, you may become less likely to question them. Well, that's enough edutainment for one day. I'm gonna go and do something mindless for a while. All the best for now, and until next time. Oh,